Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Trump says he helped Republican in PA special election. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that the final outcome of the Pennsylvania special election would have been much worse for Republicans if he had not campaigned in the district. "I don't know what's going to happen, but I know," Republican candidate Rick Saccone, "came up a lot in the last few days," Trump told donors during a closed-door speech in Missouri, according to audio obtained by Politico. "We went there. We made a speech. The place was packed, and we'll see what happens." Noting that Democrat Conor Lamb, the apparent victor in Tuesday's election, will serve in Congress only for the rest of this year and that the district map is being redrawn, Trump said it was a lot of work for a lawmaker who is only guaranteed to be in office for a short time. Trump also suggested Lamb won by pandering to GOP voters. "He said very nice things about me. I kept saying, 'Is he a Republican?' He sounded like a Republican to me," the president said. "But I guess when you're popular in a certain area, that's probably a good tactic." Trump's remarks were reported earlier Wednesday by The Atlantic and The Washington Post. The White House did not respond to a request for comment. Trump also told Republican Josh Hawley, who is challenging incumbent Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill in Missouri, that he planned on coming back to the state to campaign for him, adding that he hopes to hold a rally for him at a big arena. Lamb's apparent victory in the traditionally Republican region of Pennsylvania was a massive defeat for Republicans, and it raised red flags across the GOP about the potential for big losses in the midterms. Trump carried the district by 20 points in 2016. Trump held forth on trade for much of the speech, complaining about trade deficits with other countries and arguing that they must treat the United States fairly. The president announced plans to impose steep tariffs on steel and aluminum imports earlier this month, and he is preparing to unveil additional tariffs on China in the coming weeks for alleged intellectual property threat. He again raised the possibility of withdrawing from the North American Free Trade Agreement, despite repeated pleas from lawmakers and his own advisors to remain in the deal. "The best deal is to terminate it and then make a new deal. But I don't know that we can make a deal because Mexico is so spoiled with this horrible deal," Trump said, adding, "Sometimes something is so good, how do you negotiate? The best way, terminate. Let's start all over again." Trump also bragged about falsely telling Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that the United States has a trade deficit with Canada, even though Trudeau told him it wasn't true. "I didn't even know," Trump said. "I just said, 'You were wrong.'" The president also plugged his bid to eliminate the filibuster in the Senate. "Wouldn't it be nice if we had 51 instead of 60? He asked, adding, "Some of the senators that have been there really for a long time are just dead set on that." Trump also touted his pending meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, and he resurfaced his complaint that the media isn't giving him enough credit for the huddle. Erin Burnett, of CNN, said, "This could make him a great president." She actually said that, Trump, an avid fan of cable television, marveled. "Even the worst of them, for 2 hours, 3 hours, they couldn't believe, and then it happened, a day later, Obama could have done that too. Obama couldn't have done it." Extreme secrecy surrounds Comey book manuscript. James Comey's book is getting the Harry Potter treatment. A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, the upcoming memoir from former FBI Director James Comey, is set for publication on April 18, and with anticipation rivaling that of the cult children's favorite, the publisher is taking extreme precautions to prevent potentially explosive revelations detailing Comey's interactions with President Donald Trump from leaking. Instead of circulating multiple print drafts among the editors and agents working on the book, the publisher, Flatiron Books, has implemented a password-protected electronic system so that only those involved in the project have access to it. The project is stored under a code name so that staffers who are not involved in the project wouldn't know where to find it if they tried. At warehouses that will ship out copies of the book, workers are being asked to sign non-disclosure agreements, according to people familiar with the procedures. And while books typically ship out from warehouses about 2 weeks before their official publication dates, sometimes landing on bookstore shelves days early, the shipping date for Comey's book is expected to be moved closer to the publication date to keep a tighter lid on the physical copies. The Comey book is set to land just as the frenzy surrounding Michael Wolff's tell-all Fire and Fury, inside the Trump White House has settled down. Like Wolff's book, Comey's is expected to provide an inside-the-room account of how Trump's White House functions, but without the overarching questions about the author's credibility casting a shadow over its contents. Aside from his public testimony before Congress, Comey has been disciplined in remaining virtually silent about his past interactions with the president, or the developments in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, even though it was the circumstances of his termination that are at the core of questions about whether the president tried to obstruct justice. Last month, Comey tweeted a book teaser, a picture of himself in a recording studio, where he has been working on his audiobook, Lordy, this time there will be a tape. Audiobook almost finished, he wrote online, a reference to his reaction, during his appearance before the Senate Intelligence Committee last June, to Trump's suggestion that he had tapes of their conversations. But mostly, Comey's feed has featured enigmatic pictures of the back of his head in various locations, in front of the Statue of Liberty, in a cornfield in Iowa, and sitting in front of the Comey family Christmas tree. The quiet before the storm is helping to build anticipation. The book is already Amazon's #1 bestseller in 3 categories: politics and social sciences, law, and biography. The book is expected to provide the former FBI director's first full accounting since he was fired of his experience working under Trump, as well as an account of his time serving in the previous 2 administrations. It's not uncommon for books from high-profile public figures, like former presidents, to come with requests for bookstores to sign NDAs. But Comey's book is landing at a particularly explosive moment for Trump, making its rollout all the more carefully controlled. That also means it could potentially turn an enraged president into the book's most effective publicist. Lawyers working in the White House once promised the president that Mueller would have his investigation wrapped up by the holidays, before moving the goal line to the beginning of 2018. But over the past few months, the investigation has appeared only to intensify, with new indictments, as well as former campaign operatives like Rick Gates pleading guilty and cooperating with the special counsel's office. Trump, meanwhile, has grown increasingly fixated on the FBI, the Justice Department and Mueller's progress, often polling friends and advisors about their views on the ongoing investigation. Comey's book on its own is unlikely to have any impact on Mueller's findings, as the former FBI chief has already been interviewed by the special counsel. But any revelations, combined with a high-profile media tour, where he talks about troubling interactions with the president, is without a doubt going to have an impact with the public, said Matthew Miller, who served as a spokesman for the Justice Department under President Barack Obama. And then there's the X factor of whether Trump gets so angry that he does something rash, or takes some action, in response. The White House has done nothing, so far, to prepare a crisis communications plan to contend with the book, as it deals with almost daily high-profile departures from the administration, officials said. "A few weeks away is a lifetime for us," said one administration official when asked whether there are any media plans in the works to counter Comey's book. White House lawyer Ty Cobb wrote in an email that the government was expecting to get a copy for review, but that he has not been involved. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders did not respond to a request for comment about any rapid response plans in the works. But by mid-April, the Comey book could be on the front burner for the White House communications team dealing with blowback, and driving the questions at Sanders' daily briefing. The book promises never-before-told experiences from some of the highest-stakes situations of his career. That is expected to include new details about Comey's now infamous loyalty dinner with Trump at the White House, as well as a first-ever chronicling of how Comey briefed Trump about the Christopher Steele dossier at Trump Tower during the transition. The book could land at a complicated moment for Comey, as well. A higher loyalty was originally scheduled for release on May 1, but the publisher last month announced it was moving up the publishing date because of the intense scrutiny surrounding the FBI. Comey detractors, however, have speculated that the change had more to do with spinning another major piece of Comey's legacy, his handling of the investigation into former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email during the 2016 election, which he is also expected to detail in the memoir. The FBI Inspector General's report reviewing allegations of misconduct by Comey in connection with the email probe is also expected to come out this spring. "It's hard to believe it won't be critical of how he handled things," said Miller. There is speculation that he moved up the publication date to get ahead of the report. In the book he will come off as the saint he thinks he is. In terms of promotion plans, Comey so far is scheduled to sit down for an interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos. He'll also appear on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and has been booked as a guest on The View on the day the book comes out. A full book tour has yet to be announced, but local stores are already planning their events. "I expect it to be big," said Lisa Muscatine, the owner of Politics and Prose Bookstore in Washington and a longtime Clinton speechwriter. "He's a celebrity, he's controversial, and he's been in the news. We're doing a ticketed event with him at a venue that is bigger than the store." A spokeswoman for Flatiron Books, Marlena Bittner, did not respond to a request for comment. Comey's agent, Keith Rubin, declined to comment about the book. Comey's friends expect the revelations in the book to do most of the selling themselves. "I'm disinclined to talk about this subject," Benjamin Wittes, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution and friend of Comey's who in the past has shared details about their conversations, wrote in an email when asked about the book. "I spoke about my conversations with Jim because I had information that needed to be made public and because nobody else was in a position to speak publicly about such matters. By contrast, this book will speak for itself.